You're good to go. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Dr. DeLeo, Superintendent of Schools. I know we have a live audience, and we also have a live stream audience here tonight for our presentation on social media. Now, this is a very important topic, as we all know. This is not a new topic whatsoever, but it's due to a lot of our students who are entering middle school, the middle school world, even before that, obviously, in elementary school. But this year we happen to have, a few incidents here in South Huntington where some students inappropriately using the internet created a threat. Thankfully, they were non-credible threats, but I can tell you that the consequences were very, very significant. And it's a lot of times in speaking with parents of those individuals, it's like, hey, they just did something that was stupid. Okay. Yes, very much so, but even well beyond that. Because when we ever get a threat here in the district, it takes about 3 to 4 hours for us, at least in working with the police department, to make sure that we can make it that it is a non-credible threat. Because I can tell you, if we can't get that information to say it's not credible, I will have to close a school or maybe the entire district until we can deem that it's not credible. So it is very serious, and it just doesn't happen here in South Huntington. I know a lot of you see the media in other places, but right now we're worried only about here in South Huntington, and we have Officer Levy from Suffolk County Police Department, who is going to present to you a presentation that he's done in other places that has been very, very well received, and it's very informative. So I thank all of you. I thank all of you online who are tuned in, and I'm going to turn this over to Officer Levy.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. I'm Officer Levy from the Suffolk County Police Department. Just a little bit about me. I've been a police officer now for 8 years. My first 6 years were on patrol answering 911 calls. I worked in the Colmac, Brentwood, and Hop Hog area. And then I became a school resource officer. I've now been a school resource officer for the past 2 years, and I'm in about 11 school districts. I go into all different grade levels and educate kids on different topics to help keep them safe, happy, and healthy in Suffolk County. That's my philosophy, that I believe that that's the most important thing that our kids need, right? If you're not safe, happy, and healthy, what do you really have in life, right? Those are the real foundations of what our kids need. So I go into a lot of schools and I educate kids on different things. I was a physical education and health teacher for 7 years, so I have a real background being in the schools and teaching, and I absolutely love it. It's nice to get back into the schools and be able to touch base with all of our kids. Today we're talking about a really, really important topic, something that needs to be discussed, something that we don't talk about enough, and that is going to be internet safety. As you look up here, I want you to take a look and I don't know if my mouse set that off. As you take a look up here, I want you to look at these apps and think about if you know how many of these apps your kids are using. If they're using these apps, if they're using other apps, right? The facts are our kids use a lot of things, and some of us don't even know what apps they're using on their devices, let alone what each of the apps do. Right? So it's very important that you understand which apps your children are using and what threats might be on those apps that you need to be aware about. With these apps come risks, right? Can these apps be addictive? Yes, absolutely. It's been scientifically proven that these apps are addicting. They release chemicals in our brains that replicate us being happy and excited, and those chemicals being released in our brain are addictive. Right? Our kids are addicted to the likes and the followers, they're addicted to the comments and subscribers, funny content, videos. And when they see this, those chemicals are released in their brains and they want more and more and more and more, right? But our kids sometimes are immature and they can't really comprehend what they're seeing, what they're doing, and that they are addicted. Impulsive, that's another big problem, right? Are these apps impulsive? Are our kids being impulsive on these apps, right? Impulsive is when you do things without thinking of the consequences. Well, 100% I see many kids being very impulsive on these apps. They're doing things without thinking of the consequences. They're saying things without thinking of the consequences. And that could have a real impact on the school or that individual child. And lastly, are they dangerous? Right? We all know there's a lot of bad people out there, a lot of bad things that can happen to our kids, so I would say that they're definitely dangerous. Before using social media, we see something like this, right? I hope you all know what this is. You have to verify your age, right? To use social media, our children need to be 13 years old, right? I'm in the 6th grade center in elementary schools, and I asked our students how many of them are using social media, how many of them are using those apps. I asked them to raise their hand, and 2nd, 3rd grade, a lot of kids are raising their hand. They are definitely not 13 years old. So why is it 13 years old to use these social media apps? There's a lot of different reasons. One of the main reasons is after you verify your age, we have the terms of service agreement. Now, what everyone needs to understand is this is a legal binding contract. This is the first legal binding contract that your child will ever sign. And even if you're not there, it's still deemed that you were there because whose phone are they using? It's not really your children's phone, it's your phone. You're the adult. You're responsible for everything your children do. You're responsible for what happens on their phone. When they approve and hit accept and don't read this legal binding contract, it's deemed that you were there and gave them permission to do so. So they are bound by everything in this legal binding contract. And they hide a lot of things in there. They make it very difficult for us to understand and read, right? I have a master's degree. I think I'm pretty smart. I never failed a class. I was an A student, but I can't make any sense of this. This is crazy. And that's done on purpose. 15 pages, big words that we don't understand tech things, right? But it's because they're hiding things. Right? Something like this, you grant us license to use your content however we see fit. Well, you know what that means? On many apps, your child doesn't own that video or own that photo anymore. It's their content. They could use that photo of your child, they could use that video of your child however they want. Right? That's something that we don't realize. So they're hiding all these things in there, and what we have to understand is 13 for a reason. There's a law that says these companies cannot steal anyone's data unless they're how old? 13 years old. So to cover their tails, they give you this. You have to verify your age. You have to show that you're 13 years old, and now that you show that you're 13 years old and sign a legal binding contract, well, now we're allowed to steal all your data that we want. So some of these apps will steal all your contacts in your contact album. They'll steal your friends' names and addresses and email addresses and phone numbers. Some of these apps will steal all the photos in your photo album, even if you didn't take it on the app like we spoke about before. They will steal all those photos. They can use them however they want. You gave them access to do that. Right? Some of them will track you everywhere you go. They'll track your children because they want to know everywhere that you go. Because down the road they'll use that for marketing. But what information are we giving up? Are we telling them where we live, where we go to school, what stores we go to, what restaurants our kids, pizza places they're hanging out at, right? We're giving away a lot of information that we don't really want to be out there about our kids. Right? And it even goes further than this. Who here has an iPhone? Who here unlocks your phone by looking at it with your face? You gave that company a lot of valuable data about yourself. That company can tell the difference between your face and 7 other billion faces on the planet now. You gave them all those specific features. They have access to it, and they can sell that to whoever they want. Right? In the future, same thing. Yeah. Yeah, thumbprints are the same exact thing, right? That's information that could be stolen from us and used against us, right? So our kids are doing the same exact thing. How might that be used against them in the future? Will Google have a feature where instead of searching Google with words, they have a feature where you can put in someone's face and hit search, and every photo that person has ever taken pops up, right? I know I see photos of myself that I don't really like. I would not want every photo I've ever taken to be online, but then you have kids taking really bad photos that shouldn't be in there, right? It's a big problem. Snapchat, so we'll go through some of the apps. I obviously don't have time to talk about every app. We could be here for days, but let's talk about some of the main ones. Snapchat, we're seeing a big problem with. The idea behind Snapchat, the reason it became popular was you take a photo and 5 seconds later it disappears, right? And this was a very popular feature. This is all the app did when it was first released. And kids really like this feature because they thought they can't get in trouble. The photo's gone. But is it really gone forever? No, I just told you that the app is saving every photo and every video that you take using their app. Every single video and every single photo that you take is being saved to their database. That's a problem, right? That's a lot of information that's staying out there, and it's not gone forever. Not only are they keeping it, but it could be screenshotted, it could be screen recorded, they could use another device to take a picture of the picture, and the Suffolk County Police Department is seeing this come back and affect a lot of kids, right? We've seen kids get arrested because other people are screenshotting things. We're seeing photos be used against people, right, for blackmail. We need to make sure our kids understand what's appropriate to take a picture of and what isn't, right? The criteria when I speak to your children that I use is, if it's not appropriate for your best friend, your parents, a police officer, and a criminal to see that photo, then you should not have taken that photo. Next thing we have to talk about with Snapchat is now SnapMaps. SnapMaps is a really, really big problem, right? We're giving all of our friends and followers, and sometimes strangers, access to see where we are at all times. This is a big problem. We're sharing way too much information because this is my cousin's SnapMap, right? And I wasn't aware that my cousin is the most popular girl in all of Long Island. Apparently she knows someone in every town on the whole island. That's a problem. Because all those people can see where she is all day long because she grants them access. She has not turned on ghost mode. She's giving a lot of information, and we all know that there's really, really bad people out there. There's bad people out there that will hurt her and every other kid, and those bad people know how to use these apps. They know how to use these apps better than most of us. And they make fake profiles and they pretend to be children. And they might ask 5,000 kids in this area to be their friend. And if one of them accepts that friend request because they think it's someone else, like my cousin did, right? I asked her, I said, "Do you know all these people?" And she said, "Yeah, I think I know him from lacrosse camp. Yeah, I think I know her from church. Yeah, I think I met him at a birthday party from my friend who used to go to a different school." She thinks she knows all these people. She rationalized with herself that she knows these people, but are they really those people? She has no clue. And if she accepts someone that she doesn't know, they send out those 5,000 requests. One kid accepts it. What might they do with that information? This is how we see grooming take place. They might look at this map every day. They study. They watch everywhere your child goes. They know where they hang out. They know where they live. They know where their friends live. They know what school they go to. They might see that every Friday, your child, after school, with 5 of their friends, walks to the local pizza place and gets pizza. They see this happening over and over and over, and they realize it's a trend because they're studying that map and seeing exactly where everyone's going. On the 4th week, they realize it's a trend, and they go to the pizza place and they watch your kid from outside the pizza place. Next week, they go back. They now know what your kid looks like. They work up a little more confidence, And now they go into the pizza place. And they sit right behind your kid at a booth, and they listen to everything your child talks about with all their friends. I like these sports teams. Did you see this movie? This is my favorite video game. And now they have a lot of things to talk to them about on Snapchat. They start hitting them up. Hey, did you see that Yankee game? That was awesome. Hey, did you see that movie that just came out? No? Why don't we go see it together? I'm a really big Marvel fan. Right? They're getting a lot of bits and clues and pieces to the puzzle to lure your kid. And that's why this is really dangerous. With Snapchat Premium, this yellow line now gives you access to see where whatever Bitmoji you click on, where that friend of yours has been everywhere in the last 24 hours. If I click this car icon, it'll give me directions to whatever person's up on that map's current location. Right? We're giving a lot of information out that we shouldn't be giving out. Our kids need to have ghost mode on at all times. I tell them that it's not appropriate for them even to have their best friend see where their location is. Ghost mode needs to be turned on for everyone except their parents. Right? No one else needs to know where our kids are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's way too much information. Because the facts are, who steals things from us the most? Strangers or people we know? It's people we know. People we know what we have, especially when we brag about it online all the time. Social media, that's all it is. Bragging about all the expensive things we have and trips we go on, and what we see happen is people take advantage of that. So if your kid's posting pictures of their Jordans and their gaming devices and their quads and all this crazy stuff that they have that those other kids can't afford, well, guess what? When they see that your kids at their grandparents or out of state on vacation, it makes it really easy for them to show up to your house, break in, and steal whatever they want to. Right? So always have ghost mode on. TikTok. This is one of the most popular apps out right now. It's important that everyone understands it. We're seeing a lot of bad trends on TikTok. 2020, we see the coronavirus lick challenge. COVID-19 killed 1 million people in this country. That's a lot of deaths. 2020, they were telling your kids to go into public, lick public toilet seats. She's licking a toilet seat on an airplane, try to get COVID-19, bring it home, and get your family sick. The sad thing is, kids want to fit in. And they're addicted to the likes and followers. How do they get more likes and followers? Well, by putting out stupid content like this. Right? You could kill your family members. This virus in 2020 was very, very serious. Right? Where our kids can't tell the difference between what's a joke and what's serious. You see other trends like devious licks. What our children have to understand is vandalism is illegal. And you have no right to go around and break other people's property. If you come to school and you break property, there are serious consequences. Right? Our children have to understand this. They think it's funny. I've had kids in the schools that I go to record, well, they took a hammer and broke the toilet and broke the sink and knocked the stall door off. And then they couldn't believe that we figured out who did it. They posted it online. It wasn't very hard. The penny challenge. This was a few years ago. Kids were taking the cube from their charging device, pulling it slightly out of the wall and putting a penny behind it so it would spark. Well, we saw several people create serious fires. One person in Suffolk County started a major house fire which burnt down their house. Right? Our kids have to understand that these things aren't okay. The silhouette challenge. This was a big problem. You take a video of you in a doorway or a hallway dancing, and then you cut the video, and the app gives you the ability to add a red filter. And when the red filter kicks in, we were seeing people in their underwear or naked, and it just shows their silhouette. Well, the problem is those people that really know how to use the internet, They figured out how to remove the red filter, and now there's videos of your children naked dancing on the internet. That's child pornography. That's a problem, right? So they have to be smart. The Benadryl challenge. I just heard a case of this yesterday where a kid died, 13 years old. I want to see how many Benadryls they could eat before they start hallucinating. One kid ate 10 Benadryls and he died. He was hospitalized and lost his life. That just happened yesterday, right? Which was surprising because this challenge is about 2 years old. Last thing I want to talk about, right? There's so many different challenges we can talk about, but the blackout challenge, another really, really silly TikTok trend. Kids want to see how long they can hold their breath for, so they tie a rope around their necks. And they leave it around their necks until they pass out. A lot of kids have someone else there with them, and they remove the rope and they're okay, but some kids did this by themselves because they don't know any better, and when they pass out, the rope's still around their neck, and kids were dying. Right? We're seeing so many silly, silly challenges. The lug nut challenge, where kids are going around removing 4 of the 5 lug nuts off your car and loosening the last one, so when you go to drive to work in the morning, guess what? Your tire pops off. You cause a serious accident. Sleepy chicken, they're marinating chicken in cough syrup and eating it, right? There's a lot of bad trends on TikTok, so we have to be very vigilant in watching what our children are watching. Let's talk about Instagram. A lot of our kids are using Instagram and they're putting content out that isn't appropriate, right? So, I don't know this person. We found this profile and he's doing so many things wrong, we had to share it with you. First thing he's doing wrong is sharing his full name and his date of birth. If you wouldn't want your child to walk through the streets of New York City and tell every single stranger that they come across their first name and last name and date of birth, why are we allowing them to put that all online? It doesn't make sense. We don't want our kids to give strangers information, but there's millions of people seeing this information online. We do nothing about it. It became normal. Next thing he's doing, he has 7,198 followers. That is a lot of people following him. Not to mention this profile page was public. So it could be even more people have access to his page. But I bet all of us combined don't know 7,198 people, let alone that many people that we can trust. Right? Our kids have to understand. It's not a competition to see who has the most friends. It's only be friends with people that you can trust. He's posting a lot of photos, things that he shouldn't be posting. His car and his license plate, why does that need to be online? I had to edit out the numbers, but that's not something that we should be putting online. He's posting pictures of expensive things he has. If I followed him on Snapchat and I want a $2,000 computer, and I saw that he was out of his house and no one was home, well, it'd be very easy for me to go there and steal that computer. He's posting pictures of his friends and girlfriends, and that's kind of what social media is for, right? To show pictures of our friends, but I'll show you how I use that against John in a minute. Something as simple as a movie theater ticket can be used against your children. Right? This is just to get you thinking, what is my child putting out there and what could be used against them? So this kid was really, really excited that he got opening night tickets to a Marvel movie. Very excited about it. And he posted online. Temecula 15 Cinemas. I've never heard of that movie theater. So I went to the smartest person I know, Google. And I said, Google, where's Temecula 15 Cinemas? And in 1 second, Google told me Temecula 15 Cinemas, right there in California. Well, what does that tell me if I'm a bad person that wants to hurt this kid? I know that's where he hangs out. I know he probably lives 10 to 15 minutes from that movie theater. So I'm starting to get a lot of information about this child. I want to know more, so I asked Google, what high schools are near Temecula, California? And in 1 second, I got 3 results. 3 high schools. I had to figure out which one he went to. I looked at all of John's photos, but I couldn't figure out what high school he went to, so what did I do? I went to his best friend's profile page, and it took me 5 photos to find a picture of John and his best friend at some school event wearing a Great Oaks t-shirt. What school do we think John goes to? So it took me 5 minutes. And I figured out his first name, his last name, his date of birth, what car he drives, his license plate number, who he hangs out with, where he hangs out, what school he goes to. If I want to do something to hurt John, it's very, very easy for me to do that. And what you all have to understand is, yes, those crazy people are out there, and they're capable of doing it to your children. We cannot have our children oversharing information online. If I wanted to jump him, beat him up, rob him, kidnap him, or kill him, it would be very easy for me to do so. And he lives 3,000 miles away from me, and I've never met him in my life. Location tagging and checking in. We're seeing this as a big trend. It's not as big with the younger kids, but college-age kids and maybe some high schoolers who use Facebook and Instagram more are tagging their location. Right? This is a big problem. They're at sporting events or restaurants, right? The kids say that this is more their parents than them doing that. Their food comes out and they really like what they see, so they take a picture of it, they tag it online and tag the restaurant. Well, what are you telling people? Telling people where you are and where you're not, right? No one's home protecting my things. Same with vacation pictures. I see kids do this all the time. See you later, Huntington, I'm going to Disney for break. What did you just tell them? No one's home protecting my stuff. All that expensive stuff that I posted every day this whole last week, well, no one's at my house protecting it. So if you want to go steal it, now's the perfect time to break into my house and take all those things. Right? And we are seeing break-ins correlating to things like this. It's okay to post this stuff, but don't post this stuff until you're home. That was a really good vacation. I had a great time. That was a great dinner. I recommend this restaurant. Right? Don't post it while you're there. This is a story about a celebrity named Jonathan Cheban. He is friends with Kim Kardashian. He's a social media person. He has millions of followers, millions of dollars. And one day he goes out and posts a picture of his lunch and tags the restaurant. 5 minutes later, he thinks it's a really good idea to post a picture of his watch. That's a really nice watch. Not like my watch. My watch is like $80. That's a $500,000 watch. And some of his followers knew this. He just told his followers where he is. So what happened? He just told people he's got $500,000 on his wrist. As soon as he went to leave that restaurant, someone tried to jump him, steal his watch. Luckily, they weren't successful. But if he didn't post that photo, it would have never happened. Now, our kids, I hope they all one day get $500,000 watches, right? They probably don't have that right now. But they all have expensive things that we don't want to have stolen from them. That they don't want to have stolen. So if you don't want to have it stolen, you have to be responsible in the things that you post online. Gaming, another big topic, right? Our kids are connected to the internet all day, every day. They have smart TVs and smartphones and gaming devices. All these things can access games, and they're getting into a lot of trouble. When I was their age, if I played video games with my friends, what I have to do, I had to invite them over to my house. I had to physically sit 3 feet away from the TV and play with my friend. They can play with people across the world now all day long. And with that comes a lot of risk. I don't care what gaming device they're using. I don't care if they're playing video games on their phone. Almost all those games have some sort of chat room where you can talk to people from other places. And that becomes risky. We'll talk about Fortnite, right? This happened right here, this town. So don't tell me these people aren't out there. This kid came home every day and played Fortnite with the same person, same screen handle, over and over and over and over. And he felt like he was friends with this person because he met him through other friends in the chat room in the game. Kid should know that just because I play video games with someone I don't know, I don't care if it's every day, Even if he sees this person in a chat room and hangs out there more than he hangs out with his actual friends, I don't know this person. I can't trust this person. I would expect our kids to know that, right? But this kid didn't. He gave this person a lot of personal information. He told him where he goes to school, how old he is, his name, what grade he's in. And what happened? One day that kid beat this adult in a game of Fortnite, and this guy got really, really angry and said, "I'm going to come to your school and shoot you." That's a big deal. So we had to send police officers to the school to protect that whole school, because one kid overshared information, he put that whole school in danger, until we found him and arrested him. Right? These people are out there. We need our kids to make good decisions. Mobile device awareness. This is really scary, right? Geotagging. If you don't know what geotagging is, I'll explain. When you take a photo or video using your smart device, the exact coordinates down to the inch of where you were standing when you took that photo are embedded in that image. If you've never turned it off, it's enabled. If you've ever seen something that looks like this on your phone, geotagging is enabled. And this becomes really dangerous. Because if your kid takes a photo in their bedroom, and they send it to a friend, and that friend sends it to another friend, and they send it to 10 people, well, all those people, if they download this photo, can see the exact coordinates of where your child's bedroom is in your house. That's a little too much information to be shared. With the new iOS iPhone update, I know you could just swipe up on a photo and the exact coordinates come up. There's a lot of information being released. If they post on Snapchat, if they post on Instagram or Facebook, if they post on TikTok, is their location embedded in that file? If you post something to TikTok, you record a dance with your friends in your bedroom, right? That's where we record most of our stuff in our house. And you post it to TikTok, millions of people can see that video. Well, we're not supposed to tell millions of people where we live. So we have to make sure we turn geotagging on. Right? We don't want to give anyone that information who doesn't need it. If you have an iPhone, look for location services. And if you have an Android, you can look for Google location services. There's too many different types of phones. You have to look up your type of phone and how to turn those things on. Cyberbullying is a really big problem, something that needs to be addressed, right? I'm seeing cyberbullying starting as young as 1st and 2nd grade in some of my schools. And these kids are ruthless. They're attached to the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. The cyberbullying doesn't stop. That's a big problem. What am I talking about when I say cyberbullying? Spreading rumors or gossip about someone online, taking or posting pictures of someone and putting them online without their permission, harassing or threatening someone with mean or bad language, or obtaining a person's password and pretending to be that person. Right? This includes making fake social media accounts and pretending to be someone. Right? I see that happening a lot. Freedom of speech or a crime. This is just a small snippet, right? But what our children have to understand is their words have weight, their words have meaning. They're not little kids anymore. And if they say things, even if they don't mean it, and if it breaks the law, there are serious consequences for them. Threatening someone, even if it's a general threat like this, it's aggravated harassment, 2nd degree. Now, do we arrest every kid who says, "I'm going to kick your butt"? No. I have a little brother, and he was really annoying one summer, right? And every day I told him, "I'm going to kick your butt if you don't stop it." Did I ever kick his butt? No. Did I get arrested for it? No. Right? We have to use our discretion. Every kid who makes a threat like this won't be arrested. But it's possible that they can be. So they need to understand that they need to be very careful what they're saying to other people. Suffolk County Cyberbullying Law. No person shall engage in cyberbullying against a minor under 19 years old. It is a misdemeanor, punishable by $1,000 fine and up to 1 year in jail. We take this very serious. This is if adults are bullying someone underage. I haven't ever heard of a minor being charged. Problems that start on the internet don't stay on the internet. This is really, really important, right? This kid was in the hospital with viral meningitis. And while he was in the hospital, he was in an induced coma. And on social media, everyone at school was making fun of him because he was really sick. He woke up, he got better, and he saw all these mean things on social media. He got really angry. And then some of the kids started to text him really mean things. And then one day he looked out his front window, and who did he see? The bully who's been texting him mean things. So he didn't think. He didn't use rational thoughts. He ran in the kitchen, grabbed a knife, ran outside, and stabbed that bully in the chest. Who got in trouble? The victim or the bully? The victim. The victim got arrested because he turned into the aggressor. You're not allowed to go around and stab people. Right? I tell this to our kids because they think they're safe as could be when they're in their house. They think they can say anything to any other kid and there'll be absolutely no consequences because mom and dad are here to protect me and I'm safe in my bedroom. Well, guess what? At some point, you have to leave your house. And what is that kid going to do? Are they going to come to the house and try to hurt them there? Are they going to see your kid at the park and try to hurt them there? Are they going to come to school and try to hurt them there? Or do they not just want to hurt your child because 5 kids made fun of them online and in school every day? Do they want to hurt every kid in this district now because they hate all of them? Every single kid they hate because they feel like they don't belong. They feel like they have no friends. They feel like all they do is come to school, get harassed, and be put down, and like their lives go on. This is a big problem. We have to be careful what our kids are saying online. Right? Just because it started on the internet doesn't mean it's going to stop. It's especially true over the summer. We see a lot of problems that escalate over the summer and then it ends up coming to a head in school when they're finally face to face. Right? So we need to make smart decisions. What kids should do when they're cyberbullied. So this is our advice to you, right? If your kid's a cyberbully, tell them never respond to a cyberbully's message. You can't go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for a half an hour and then come to the principal and say, hey, I'm being bullied, right? It doesn't work like that. As soon as your kid feels uncomfortable in the conversation, it's their responsibility to say, I don't want to talk to you anymore, stop contacting me. If anyone says that to anyone else and that person continues to contact that person, that could constitute a crime. That could be aggravated harassment, 2nd degree, a misdemeanor, an arrestable offense. Okay, I don't care if it's phone calls, text messages, messages in a game. Next thing, take a picture, a screenshot of the message. It's really important that you have evidence of what happened if it's going to constitute a crime. Again, do we arrest every single person who says stop contacting them? They send this messages. This is for serious circumstances. But it gives you a little more to try to get it to stop. Sign off the computer or the app right away. You can block them if that feature is available. And lastly, we tell our kids to make sure you tell someone they can trust. You really have to tell someone they can trust so they can get you home. Making threats of mass harm, this is a really big problem in every school district. This is what we care about the most. And we're seeing it happen way too much. I could have 100 slides just from Suffolk County schools, just from this year. But we created this PowerPoint before Christmas, so you'll see that a lot of the dates are from the first half of the school year. Suffolk County teen arrested for threatening shooting at Bellport High School. Teen arrested after bomb threat phoned into Queens School, October 14. 13-year-old arrested for making online threats against Copeg Middle School, October 24th. This one's really interesting because there was 3 threats of mass harm in this district in one day. One at the middle school, one at the high school, and then another kid thought it was really funny and thought if he called one in, he wouldn't have to go to school the next day. This is the problem. Our kids say things and they don't understand the weight of their words. I don't care if your kids in 5th grade, they're not little kids anymore, they're becoming adults, and we have to teach them that they're becoming adults and their words have weight and their words matter. They have to only say what they mean, and they better only mean what they say, because if you start saying things like this, there's going to be real consequences at school and with the Suffolk County Police Department. East Hampton, another threat, 13 years old, October. I put this up here to show you that it doesn't matter what kind of school district you're in. This is happening absolutely everywhere, right? Everyone's affected the same way. Our kids think they can say whatever they want, and there's no consequences. That's not true. There's repercussions, right? So what are they? What happens if our kid says something, right? Your child can be taken to Stony Brook CPEP Psychiatric Emergency Room. This is a lockdown facility at Stony Brook, and you will not have access to your child until that doctor says your child is not a threat to anyone else or themselves. We take this very seriously, because if you're making homicidal statements, that's a mental emergency. You need to see a professional. There's nobody better than Stony Brook. Suffolk Police can obtain a warrant to search your entire residence. That's not just your child's things, that is your whole house. Anywhere where they might have a weapon, if that's what they stated to do, or a bomb or anything like that, we will search every inch of your property. We might bring canines in. We will go through everything, because we owe it to every other kid in that district to be sure that that child will not hurt anyone else. Any weapons found can be taken by the police department for safekeeping and used as evidence against your child. We have no choice. Right? Yes, you have your right to bear arms, but if your child threatens someone else's safety, we must take that weapon. That cannot stay in your house. And lastly, your child can be arrested. Right? You don't want to ruin kids' lives. But these kids are doing it to themselves. They should know better. They know what they can say and what they can't say. And they have to think things through before they do it. Possible New York State penal law charges for making threats of mass harm. So making threats of mass harm is a penal law charge. Let's look at it. With intent to intimidate or create public alarm, a person threatens to inflict serious injury or death at a school or any other public location. This next paragraph is the most important. A person is guilty of this law even if they did not have the intent or capability of committing the conduct threatened. They will be charged. All they have to do is say it, and they're guilty. Very easy for us to prove. Again, they cannot be saying things that they don't mean. You need to teach them that. You need to make sure that they understand that. Below are a few other charges that they could also be charged with, depending on what we say.
We're now learning the streets are a little safer for your kids tonight. A local sheriff giving us the startling results of the statewide crackdown targeting online sexual predators.
If we can just save one child, makes it all worth it.
An undercover detective whose voice we are disguising shows us just how easy it is to spot a suspicious online ad, perhaps a predator looking for sex with a minor.
You could do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you'd probably be able to find someone every day that you worked.
Police agencies around the state are doing just that. In a span of 4 months, 8 agencies, including Polk and Pinellas, participated in a crackdown on predators. Undercover detectives posing as underage kids. Investigators say 132 men took the bait, thinking they were meeting for sex. Today's technology making it easier than ever for predators to prey and for kids to find trouble. Authorities urging parents to get involved in every aspect of their kids' lives. Sheriff Brady Judd wanted this to be a wake-up call for parents.
Know that these predators are out there. Know that they'll walk right up to your front door if the 12 or 13 or 14-year-old says, Mom's, Dad's not home.
So this happened in Texas, right? They did a few-month surveillance and arrested 130 people in a few town areas. These are bad people. I have no doubt that it would be the same if we did this here. we did this on a massive scale, we would be able to catch just as many people. These people are out there, they're out there every day, and your kids are at risk online or in public or anywhere they go. But they really like to target kids online. It's easy. They know most parents aren't paying attention. Right? And what he said is true. They will come to your house. Mom, Dad's not home, I'll be right over. Right? We're not building our kids up with enough information to make safe choices for themselves. They need to understand how dangerous it is out there. We can't act like this isn't out there and our kids don't need to be aware of it. You need to teach your kids this information as soon as they have access to the internet, as soon as they have access to games and things like that. You need to make sure they understand what's out there. Because these people will target anyone. Online grooming, when an emotional connection is made with the goal to trick, force, or pressure someone into meeting or to send sexually explicit messages or photos and videos. Okay, this is happening over and over and over. But I believe the statistics from the CDC, 1 in 5 kids has been sexually solicited online by online predators. 1 in 5. That's an alarming statistic. That's a lot of kids. This is happening to so many of them. And a lot of us aren't even aware.
District officials say they've discovered a large number of new photos on the students' phones. Hundreds of students, male and female, could be charged with felony child pornography.
2 teenagers now facing felony charges over a sexting scandal.
Sharing naked pictures on their cell phones like trading baseball cards.
These photos are often forwarded from friend to friend.
But just receive it and aren't even asking for it. It's really not.
Hundreds of students, both boys and girls, will face felony charges.
They're facing felony charges.
What's a misdemeanor?
They're facing the felony of promoting the sexual performance of a
I
child.
could follow you for the rest of their life. And they're not thinking about that.
They don't think it's gonna.
So a lot of us think that we don't need to talk about this. Our kids are still young. Our kids are in elementary school. That's not true. As soon as you give your child access to the phone, they need to know about this. Because I've seen kids as young as 4th grade sending nude photos. Right? This is a big problem. Children aren't understanding that it's wrong. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. So what's sexting? The act of electronically sending sexually explicit messages, photos, or videos. This happened in Smithtown and Kings Park. Some students went to Kings Park to a party, and 2 kids recorded a boy and girl hooking up. They then spread that information. They sent those videos all over the place, and what did it lead to? 2 Smithtown boys got arrested for sending those videos. A lot of other people got suspended from school. Real serious consequences. They're not 18. That content cannot be out there. Charges. Having inappropriate photos on your phone or computer, right? This is your child's phone or computer, but whose phone did I say it was? It's really yours. If your child takes a photo of themselves, that photo is on their phone. They've broken the law. What's the charge? They're in possession of obscene sexual performance by a child. They're in possession of child pornography. That's illegal, even if that photo is of themselves. They then send the inappropriate photo to someone else. They broke another law. Right? They're now promoting or distributing obscene sexual performance by a child. They're distributing child pornography. That is illegal. If your child receives that photo, even if they did not ask for it, they are now in possession of child pornography. That's a crime. They have a responsibility to report it. They have to go to their parents, who then have to decide, what do I do with this? Is it a full nude image? Is it something that doesn't quite qualify as that? But I want that picture of my child out there. If you wouldn't, you should probably report it. Cover your own tail, report it to the police, get documentation. My child didn't ask for this, they reported it to me. I don't want this to come back on them. And go to the other child's house who sent it and do an investigation. Okay. If the These pictures are sent to someone in another state is considered a federal felony, and all of these can result in your child being a registered sex offender. Promoting child pornography, that has a serious charge. Right? They need to be smart, because we're seeing real consequences. Sextortion, everyone needs to know what this is. Sextortion is when people are blackmailed with nude images of themselves or videos. It's a huge problem. Man who tricks 305 girls online gets 105 years. FBI warns parents and children sextortion cases are on the rise. September 9, 2022. FBI says 17-year-old boy died by suicide hours after being scammed in sextortion. This is becoming more and more and more popular. These kids can't bear the thought of that image getting out, of their parents seeing that image, their friends seeing that image, so what do? They take their own lives. Right? I had this as one of my last calls before I came to this unit, right? One of my last 911 calls. I had a kid, he called me up. He called 911. I responded. He got a friend request on Instagram. Very attractive girl, he said. I didn't believe she was real. I thought it was spam, right? But she was so pretty, I had to click accept. So he clicked accept, and instantly he started to get messages from that girl. He said, there's no way you're real. You're a robot, right? She goes, I'm not a robot. Here's my number, FaceTime me. So we FaceTimed her. On that FaceTime call, it started to progress. And they started to do things that they shouldn't have been doing. He was in college, I think he was a sophomore in college, second year, right? So he's a little bit older. They do what they do. They hang up the phone call, and immediately he gets a text message. I screen recorded that whole video session that we just had. And she starts sending him pictures of all of his family members that he's friends with on Instagram. If you don't send me $2,000 for rent, I'm going to send this video to all these people. He freaked out. What do? I don't want this video out there. I would be really, really embarrassed. I guess I have to pay her. He went into his college fund and took money out and sent her $2,000. And he thought it was over with. A month later, he gets another message. Rent's due. Well, he gave her his last $2,000. He doesn't have any more money. So that's when he freaked out and called 911. It was really hard for us to do anything about this because she was in Florida. It's not my jurisdiction. So I had to forward the report along. Right? It's very, very challenging. But this statistic is alarming. In 2021, there were 18,000 cases of extortion with losses in excess of $13 million. $13 million was paid to people doing this. It's a really, really big issue. Right? And not just our kids need to be made aware of this. It's everything. What can parents do? The basics, right? Make sure your kids know the basics. What not to share with strangers. So your name, your address, your date of birth, phone number, password, school, team names, right? We do not want to share this information with people we don't know. Remember who's online. Friends, teachers, parents, criminals, strangers, right? All these people are out there. Online predators, future employers, college admissions officers. And like I said before, you should only be taking pictures if it's appropriate for your best friend, your parents, a police officer, and a criminal to see. Doesn't meet those 4 criteria, you should not be posting. We're seeing that in 2021, approximately 75% of college admissions officers reported looking at applicant social media. This is becoming more and more popular, and it's really messing up a lot of scholarships and different opportunities for a lot of kids. They're posting things that they should have thought about, right? But some of them were young. Some of them might have been in 5th, 6th grade when they posted those things. So we should be going through our kids' social media, making sure that everything's appropriate as well. Look out for predatory language. Are your parents around? Let's chat in private. I could hook you up with, right? X, Y, Z. Nothing's going to be given to our kids. They need to know. Right? everything that you get in life you have to work for. Potential dangerous online relationships. This is what we're seeing a lot of. Want to keep the victim from their friends and family, they turn the victim against their parents, or make the victim keep secrets. Right? These are the biggest things that we see. Remember too, protect your passwords. This is huge. So, Suffolk Police Department got hacked. The whole county. If they could hack the police department, you think they could hack you? Absolutely. This was huge for us. Right? This was really, really terrible. You don't want to go through that. Be careful what links you click. This is really, really important. I don't care if it's a link in a text message, a link in an email, a link on a website. Anything that you click can be a phishing attempt. Right? So you click that link, you could be giving that person access to your telephone, to your computer, wherever you are when you click it. And this is how people get a lot of information. There was a girl, she got a text message from her uncle's phone. And it said, look at this funny picture of you from when you were a kid. And it was a link, and she thought that was kind of weird. Why didn't he just send me the photo? But she clicked the link, and as soon as she clicked that link, she gave that person access to everything in her phone. He had access to all of her state bank information. He cleared out her bank account. He had access to all of her photos. He took whatever he wanted. He was able to turn on her video camera on her phone and watch her whenever he wanted, and she had no idea that the camera was active. Think about all the stuff we do with these phones. People are in the bathroom doing weird stuff with their phones, right? I don't want someone to be able to turn that phone on. So online security is very important. If photos of your children are out there, there are now federally funded programs to try to get them down. Websites, right? Take It Down is a service to help remove online nude, partially nude, or sexually explicit photos and videos taken before your child was 18. Okay, so you could go to this site. I believe you have to upload the photo, and then they'll do like a search online with that photo and try to remove it. All right, and they kind of geotag it some way. I'm not really a tech guy, but that's what I heard. If you're over 18, you could go to stopncii.org, and it's kind of the same thing. You submit that photo, but this one's a little more advanced because it's child pornography. We can't have pictures of our children online. What else can parents do? It is your responsibility to make sure that your child's using the internet responsibly. If you could pay $60 a month for a phone, maybe you have to pay a few extra dollars to have some kind of monitoring service. Some of them are free and some of them are paid for. Screen time is very, very important, right? Our kids don't need access to every app on their phone every second of every day, especially when they're alone. If you're going to let them in their bedrooms with their devices, you should turn screen time off so they can't get on certain things. Our kids don't need to be talking to people at 3 in the morning when we're asleep, right? So screen time allows you to enable that. Digital well-being on Android. Share My Location is a very good one, right? That's free, so you can see where your children are at all times. That being said, it's a good feature. Our kids know these devices better than us. And we're getting reports of kids saying they're at one friend's house and setting the location at that house and then going somewhere else, and the phone's not registering and telling you that they did. Right? So you have to be aware. Life 360 is another good one where you can monitor your kids. This has a few extra features. This is a paid app, but it can tell you how fast your children are driving, if they're fast accelerating or hard braking. It can tell you if they're in car accidents and when they arrive home and when they leave home. Right? So you're paying for it, but you're getting a few extra features. And these three at the bottom, these are also paid monitoring apps that I would highly recommend as the Suffolk County Police Officer talking to. I can't recommend any companies that get paid, but these are popular ones that I heard. Personally, I have experience with Bark. It's a very good program. You install it on your kid's phone, and if your kid is involved in anything on their phone, on a website, in a text message, on a chat, on a video game, if they are bullied, if they are any words of violence, if there's any suicidal statements or sexual content, whatever the app flags will be screenshotted and sent to your phone. So you have instant evidence of what's going on. You don't need to get your kid's phone out and figure out the password. Right? You can get that information right away. So these are really, really important. If you're going to give your child a phone, we suggest that you have something on it to monitor them at all times. It also gives you information on different emojis and how kids use that to represent different things, so you can understand that. I know Barb informs you on different slang terms and stuff like that, because we start to fall behind, right? And so that's all I have. I hope I didn't go too long. I think we're right about an hour. The last thing I just want to say is make sure that your child understands they have no right to privacy on their devices. It's not their phones, it's your phones, and you really need to be aware of everything that's taking place on these devices, because you are responsible for what happened, right? It's not their phone, it's your phone. So make good choices. I have a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask anything you want. Thank you. Yeah, so I give them a similar presentation. I try to get into as many grades as I can, but I don't want the kids to re-see it every year over and over, so I try to space it out. Right now, I'm just showing the internet safety at the 6th grade center, and I did it for the 8th graders as well. I'm going to try to continue that. If there's a group of kids that we missed and the school district feels that they really want that group to see it, I can definitely. I have in other districts, but I don't believe we did here. Maybe I did. I think I did this in the beginning of the year at Birchwood and Maplewood. I think I did Introduction to Police and Staying Safe, a general presentation, and I think with the 4th grade we also did internet safety. It feels like a year ago. I haven't done it in the high school. I was just with my schedule, I haven't had the time, but it's something I'm open to. Yeah, definitely. We try. I think it was live stream.
I mean, interrupt, but could you just reiterate the question for the people on the live stream?
Was this being recorded?
Yes.
Thanks for the reminder. Yes, I believe so, right? They can watch it at any time? Or is it if you weren't logged in right now, it's not?
Yes, on the parent square message that went out this afternoon and about an hour ago, you just click on that and you can just rewatch it as many times as you want.
You're gonna post it again? All right, great. Any last questions? So, what are some things parents can do for? So I kind of went over it before, right? Make sure that your child knows to let you know or someone else. Make sure they take screenshots and, try to have documentation and proof. If it involves school, feel free to come to the school first. If it's more of a safety issue, go straight to the police. Right? I mean, other than that, it's hard for us to give you exact advice. Every situation is so different. Right? But I think that gives you the gist of what you need to do to get through. And anything's possible, right? Can parents be charged with crimes because it's really their phone? That's the question. Yeah, I mean, think about it. You bring the wrong phone to school, to work, you grab it in the morning, and you're going through photos, and the person sitting next to you sees nude photos of children. Yeah, you're definitely going to be charged, right? I mean, crazy things happen. I've never seen a kid send the picture and the parent gets arrested, but anything's possible. I mean, it's gotta be safe and sorry, right? Because you never know what the outcome might be. So with this, we need more information. It can't just be an anonymous tip. We need to see the post, and we need to know who sent it to your child. We need to do an investigation. If it's just an anonymous tip, we're not going to be able to get anywhere with the investigation. Right? No, I mean, every person here wants their kid to be in a safe environment, and your kid wants to be in a safe environment. So our kids have to understand that if you want to be safe in school, you need to report these things, right? And I'm sure we won't call out your child if at all possible, right? We don't want to make waves.
Yeah, I can tell you, we had parents help us tremendously this year. Like the officer said, you know, if somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to shoot up the school tomorrow, and your child goes to that school, I don't think you're going to hesitate to contact the building administrator or the second precinct. And when it comes down to that, it's not about being anonymous anymore. It's about life and death, you know, and you see what's going around in this country right now. It's absolutely scary. And it's real. And so, you know, parents aren't really hesitating in our experience here. And like I said, they've been non-credible, but still, you see a threat on your child's phone, and your child's sharing it because your child is scared. Trust me, your instincts will not say, wait, I'm not saying you wouldn't do this, or anybody would, but you're not going to say, wait, I'm not sure I want, you know, does this may come back to me? It's definitely a different feel. No, we try to, at all costs, you know, not reveal who the person is. And we have been very successful with that. So, because they get involved and they do, you know, we give them all the information that's shared with us. But sometimes, and this is great, you know, parents go right to the second precinct, and then we get the call, and then we work together as a team to deem it non-credible or whatever it may be. So we try, parents, trust me, have come forward, and we protect as much as we can their privacy.
I've never really heard of us going to the person who made the threat and saying, this is who told you. Right? We don't want to do that, but we do have to interview your child and find out all the information we can, and that's immediately as well. If it's a safety concern, you come to the police first, because all the school's going to do is notify the police. You need to call 911 as soon as possible.
But we do absolutely work together,
Yeah,
Junction, and because we go on a mission to find out where it came from. And like I said earlier, I cannot, if we have a threat, we cannot open that school or any school in the district until we deem it as non-credible. And there's a big process that takes place with the police department. They are very helpful in that.
And as soon as you hang up with the police, I recommend you call and report the school. As soon as we get to your house, we'll call and work with the school, right? We all try to stay in very close contact.
The good thing is, a lot of parents have that same philosophy. We're fortunate. I'm sorry, go ahead. Can you see that you have a question? I'm sorry, I just didn't hear.
What are we doing to protect them? We're gonna investigate, right? We're gonna talk to whoever said it, we're gonna go to that kid's house, we're gonna search those houses, right? We're gonna do everything we can. The school's gonna take different steps, right? You guys close school if necessary, or?
We will, if we don't, if it's deemed still to be credible, the school's gonna start in 15, 20, 30 minutes, we can't take chances. We're gonna have to, fortunately, we haven't gone wood somewhere, but we haven't had to. But that's the real process here, because once, I heard, the Stimson situation we had, and some other ones where it's, and I apologize, calling you 10 o'clock at night earlier this year, but I have no choice, and I'm gonna do a K-12. We're not just gonna specifically go for the one school where we did the incident happen. You had, their siblings in other schools, and there could be impact, by the way, because we could be very fresh in the investigation as well.
And
So,
if the kids are in school, the school's gonna go into auction. Right, so, the schools have plans set in place. We can't make them all public, but the school does have a very precise plan that they go over with the police department, and I think it's out to the state.
yes, we have to submit it to the state education department every August before school starts. Those plans get updated with our teams, our safety teams. We have a district-wide safety team. We also have building safety teams. And as you know, this district definitely looks at safety in a very important way. Not all districts do, but I'll speak for South Huntington, and we're not going to take any chances. As we know, you send your children to school, and you need them to come home. And they're your prized possessions, and we treat them as such.
It could mean a million different things, right? But if someone says something vague, like, I want to end this, what does that mean? Want to end what? That doesn't really mean someone meant they're going to come to school and do something horrible. That's how that. And we will take that very serious and investigate, and they might have to go to school and see that it be evaluated, right? But it's not always, I'm going to bring a gun to school and shoot someone, right? There's a lot of gray area there that we have to decide if it means we take it very seriously. Or maybe it's not credible because it wasn't even from the state, right? It was just a mass.
That happened, maybe not even from this country.
Yeah. So
We had two of those.
That's deemed not credible because it's just some random person, right? So.
That takes time. That could take 3 to 4 to 5 hours. It's something that may not happen, in the first half hour of the investigation. But trust me, it's all hands on deck whenever we get any kind of threat. And they've been great partners with us as well. They ping phones. That's how we found out that situation that happened that you read about earlier from Texas. I don't know how someone from Texas ended up calling Walt Whitman High School, but it happened. And that person, that individual that was in Texas, underage individual, was interviewed that day, that morning by the police department. They had a pretty traumatic event in Texas, as we know, last May, so they weren't taking any chances as well. Thank you, Officer Levy, and thank you for everybody coming. Appreciate it. Thank you.